Hello, everyone. So today we're going to talk about Boy Scouts of America claim. And we have our special guest today, Mr. Robert Canada. Welcome, and thank you so much for your time and all you do. And we're going to do a little bit introduction about Mr. Canada, about his background. So Robert Canada is an associate at Gregory J. Canada and Associates, LLP, and is a personal injury attorney based in New York City. Amongst his many clients, including children and adults, survivors of sexual abuse that occurred while in foster care, the Boy Scouts, educated settings, and while religious activities. And prior to joining the firm, Mr. Canada spent over 7 years serving as an assistant district attorney in the New York County District and a district attorney's office, where he tried over a dozen cases to verdict and developed keen trial skills. His first 5 years in the office were the trial division, where he prosecuted various felony offenses such as domestic violence, robbery, assault, burglary, weapons, narcotics, etc. So Mr. Canada has joined the trial advocacy program for faculty, where he helps train first-year prosecutors on trial techniques and strategy. And in addition to that, his outstanding trial skills, Mr. Canada is also known for his passion and sensitivity, as well as for being a restless investigator and tireless advocate for his clients. Mr. Canada graduated magna cum laude from Bucknell University. Excuse me, might have to help me pronounce the university name in 2006, and cum laude from Seton Hall University School of Law in 2011. He's admitted to practice in both New York and New Jersey. He's a member of the New York State Trial Attorney Association. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here today, Mr. Canada. So I know that, it's a hot topic right now about the Boy Scouts of America, and there are some important dates about that. So that's what we wanted to bring you here to share your expertise about the claim. So I'm gonna pass the mic to you now and let you do what you do the best and tell us a little bit more about this, and also the deadlines, etc.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate being here. I appreciate you giving me the time and the platform to educate and inform some of your listeners and your viewers. I also really appreciate all of the hard work that your organization does in helping survivors of abuse and helping their families. So kudos to you, and I'm happy that we're able to make this happen, and that I have an opportunity to talk about this. So the Boy Scouts in America, and that's really kind of the specific topic that I'd like to talk about today. Back in February of 2020, the Boy Scouts of America filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the Bankruptcy Court in Delaware. Now, essentially what that means is that the Bankruptcy Court has set a deadline of November 16th, 2020, by which all survivors of child sex abuse by a Boy Scouts volunteer or a Boy Scout employee must file a claim. If there's one thing that your viewers, that your listeners take from this, it is the date November 16th, 2020. That is the most important one takeaway, the most important thing. That is the deadline to file a claim. Now, the claim process is open to anyone in the country, anyone who was abused while they were in scouting before February 18th of 2020 and under 18 years of age. So, for example, if someone was abused in 1950 and they were under 18, if they were 12, 13, 14 years old, and they live in Idaho, they can file a claim with the bankruptcy court. If someone was abused in January of 2020, and they're under 18, they can also file a claim in bankruptcy court. So this is open to anyone in the country. The only requirements are that the abuse happened before February 18th, 2020. That's the day that the Boy Scouts filed for bankruptcy. And the second requirement is that the survivor was under 18 years old at the time of the abuse. Now, it's very important for everyone to understand that this claim process is not a lawsuit. In most states, the statute of limitations is the amount of time that a person has to bring a lawsuit in court. Now, that statute of limitations for many, many survivors of sexual abuse at the hands of the Boy Scouts, that statute of limitations has long expired. And so what this is this is a claim that is in bankruptcy court, and it allows people to file a claim. It allows the claimants to be confidential to the public. It does not require the claimants to go to court or to face their abusers in court. It is it's a great option for people who have suffered abuse at the hands of the Boy Scouts, and it's really the only option too, because even if someone were to file a lawsuit, that case would be removed to the bankruptcy court, and the process is to file a claim. But for most people living in the country, the statute of limitations has passed, and so this gives them an opportunity to receive some compensation for the injuries that were caused by the Boy Scouts. Now, the claim process itself, it's a relatively straightforward process. I would recommend, obviously as an attorney, I would recommend that anyone who's interested in filing a claim with the Boy Scouts discuss the case with an attorney and hire and retain an attorney. An attorney has experience handling claims of this matter, and the attorney is really in the best position to make sure that that claim is filled out properly and that anyone gets the compensation that they deserve. We fill out all the claims on behalf of our clients. Our process is that we have an initial discussion to assess the case, to make sure that the sexual abuse survivor is eligible. And we ask for some information in terms of, when the abuse occurred, what the survivor's age was when the abuse occurred, what the troop number, the troop location, the name of the abuser if that's known, and then just very generally about the abuse. If we decide that's a case that we can accept, if we decide, and if the survivor decides to go forward. We've had some situations, some cases where we'll get a call about a case, inquiry about filing a claim, and we'll have a conversation with them, that initial consultation. And for whatever reason, the survivor says, you know what, I don't want to do this. I don't feel comfortable, or I'm not ready to discuss what happened to me. And that's totally fine. Now, we understand that this is an extraordinarily difficult process for survivors of sexual abuse to go through. At the same time, one of the things that I have found is that a lot of our clients are survivors of abuse from decades ago, and that the process of even talking about what happened to them and completing this claim process and providing a narrative about what happened to them is, in many ways cathartic, and actually feels like getting an emotional load off of their shoulders. And I've gotten very positive feedback that it's actually been quite helpful in terms of the healing process. So what we'll do then is that once we both decide to move forward, then our process is to schedule a 2-hour phone call with them to get more information about the nature of the abuse, the impact that the abuse has had on their lives. And then, because we understand that for many people, this is their first time even discussing this, we understand how difficult it is for them. We recognize that this conversation often needs to take place multiple times over a period of time, and we're compassionate. We give the clients as much time as they need to have these conversations. We then also, like I said, we have the survivor write a narrative where they describe how they were harmed by the abuse, what the effect it's had on their life. And this kind of gives them an opportunity to really empower them, to say what they've been wanting to say for so long. And then in terms of the process, then what we do is we file the claim. Once all the claims are filed, the bankruptcy court is going to determine all of the assets of the Boy Scouts of America. These assets will include things like cash, real property, other types of property such as the Boy Scouts may own a fleet of vehicles, for example. Whatever their property is, the bankruptcy court is going to determine the assets of the Boy Scouts of America, and they're going to determine how many sexual abuse claimants there are and how many regular creditors there are as well. Because this bankruptcy court doesn't apply just to survivors of child sex abuse, but anyone who's a creditor of the Boy Scouts. So for example, maybe the people that, the companies that make their patches, they may be a creditor of the Boy Scouts as well. So what will happen is once they figure out what the assets of the Boy Scouts are and what all the liabilities of the Boy Scouts are, then they will devise a matrix so that everyone can be compensated fairly. Now, this is something that's going to occur only after all of the claims have been submitted after the November 16th, 2020 date is over. In terms of this matrix, the reason they do this is so that everyone can be compensated fairly. So for example, if let's say there are two claimants that suffered essentially the same abuse and it's had essentially the same effect on their lives. I understand no two people are going to be the same, but let's just say hypothetically speaking. They want to make sure that both of those claimants are compensated equally. Conversely, if you have a situation where just objectively the nature of the abuse was much, much worse for one person and the effect that it's had on someone's life is much, much worse for one person, they want to make sure that that person receives greater compensation than somebody else. So that's what they have to do in order to figure everything out. And we're hoping that that will happen, that they'll have that matrix by early 2021.
Okay, that kind of answers my question. I was going to ask, how long are you anticipating this to take, and what the next step may be for the people. So can you tell us a little bit about what's going to happen next for those who file, and how can people file that? And if they have any questions, how do they reach out to you?
Sure. So let me start in terms of how to actually file. Certainly, if someone has an attorney, that attorney should file that claim on that person's behalf. It's not required that someone have an attorney in order to file a claim, although I would strongly advise it. But there's a website that the survivor can go to download the claim form and submit the claim. And that website is www.officialbsaclaims.com. So just one more time, it's www.officialbsaclaims.com. And they can download the claim form through that website. They can submit the claim form through that website. And again, the most important thing to remember is that November 16th deadline. It's a 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time deadline. So for anyone who lives on the West Coast or in any time zone other than Eastern Standard Time, that's what you have to remember. I know for us, and it takes some time to fill out these claims. I would say it takes us about 3 weeks or so to fill out these claims, let's say a month to be safe. So this isn't something, if people are thinking about it, don't wait till November to do this. Start the process now. The sooner the better, especially because we expect that there's going to be a rush of people, wanting to file claims come November. And so you don't want to be in that rush, because you want to make sure that your claim is submitted. In order to contact us, my email or phone number is the best way to contact me. Our firm's website is www.cannatalaw.com. It's CANNATALAW.com. law.com. And my email address is rcannata@cannatalaw.com. It's RCANNATA @CANNATALAW.com. And I'll give you and your viewers my direct phone number. It's 212-553-9152. That's my direct line. And if anyone wants to, discuss a claim, discuss a case with me, they can either email me to set up a time to talk, or they can give me a call. I return all phone calls within 24 hours, and I'm generally very responsive. So that's how they can get in touch with me. That's how they can submit a claim. In terms of the next steps, like I said, what the next steps will be is once all claims are in on November 16th, 2020. And that's also the deadline for regular claimants, for non-child abuse claimants as well. So for the people that need patches, for example. Once all the claims are in, then there's been, I believe, 3 mediators that have been appointed by the court. They were actually, I just got notice they were appointed yesterday. What they will do is they'll sit down, they will determine what the assets of the Boy Scouts are, and how many claims there are, what all the liabilities are, and then they'll try to devise a matrix in order to compensate everybody fairly. And we're hoping, this is going to take some time to do it. It's Boy Scouts is a huge organization. There's probably going to be thousands of claimants. This is a big job. I would expect that they will have the matrix in place. I'm hoping by some point, winter, spring, maybe even summer of 2021.
Okay, that's great. Just want to mention that if for you all, you can obviously replay this video, but we're gonna put the links of where you can download the claim form, as well as the law firm website and Mr. Cannata's email and phone number in the content section, so that you can review it if you haven't got a chance to write it down. I really like what you said about, it's not a lawsuit, it's a claim. We deal with a lot of the survivors and victims, and as we call, just like you said, no case is the same, and they all go through their own phases of recovery. Some ones, I do understand, like they might just call it out last minute, because I understand that they're just not ready for that. We have, different survivors, they come to us and then they say, yeah, we're gonna do this. Then they say, you know what, we're gonna think about it. But then a week later they say, yeah, we're ready. So it's at their own pace. But I do want to strongly, make sure that you write down those important dates. Like Mr. Cannata said, it takes about a month for them to do it, and they're the professional. He has many years of experience. And so I would strongly say that mark your calendar, November the 16th, 2020, 5 p.m. Eastern time. I have missed a WebEx meeting because I had mistaken the time zone. So make sure you had that, but don't wait until last minute. So if you take them a month, typically for me, I will add 2 weeks to that. So you do your calculation. That's why we want to bring the news out as soon as possible, so that more people can benefit from that. According to the CNN, when the Boy Scouts, they filed a bankruptcy on February the 18th, 2020, the reporter Laura Lee said that last April, exposed court testimony showed that the organization believed more than 7,800 of its own former leaders were involved in sexually abusing more than 12,000 children over the course of 72 years. This is huge. So, there are so many people involved, and our organization, HopePyx Global, our goal is to help empower, educate, and equip. That's why we work, great law firm and experts like Mr. Cannata to help you. And so make sure that you take advantage of this. And if you have any questions, we will link Mr. Cannata's email, and we will also have our email address for other services that you might need. But other than that, thank you so much, Mr. Cannata, for your time and all the work once again you do, from all your passion. I do understand, because when you have the passion, you don't work for a day, right? So I know that.
That's true.
And but really kudos to you for everything that you do, and thank you again for your time. So if you guys, after reviewing the video, have any more questions, like I said, you can contact that email, but you can also leave on the comments and someone will get back to you. And thank you for tuning in. And if you want, you can tune into the channel HopePyxGlobal. We'll have more educational sessions coming up soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.